Good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Please remember to mute your phones or anything else that's noisy. If you have anything for us to review, goes to the Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Curran. And with that, if you wish to join us in the invocation and the pledge, please rise.
Let us pray. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of county business, guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Bless this meeting with your divine intelligence and help us do right by all concerned. Please share a little of your wisdom with us so our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for your guidance and your heavenly blessings over our meeting today. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Bell,
Here.
Commissioner Curran,
Here.
Commissioner Freeling,
Present.
Commissioner Harrison,
Here.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Here.
Commissioner Mcginnis,
Here.
Commissioner Meeks,
Here.
Commissioner Scott,
Here.
Commissioner Volrath,
Here.
Commissioner Werfel,
Here.
Commissioner Yarborough,
Present.
and Chair Elliott.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Minutes from a week ago were sent out. Hadn't heard about any changes, so assuming there aren't any, motion to approve made by Volrath, supported by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Have we any communications? Okay. All right, Warren, you're on.
There you go, and then he's right here, I think we'll scroll you down to that page.
No worries. Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone.
Warren, just give me 1 second for the benefit of the multitudes tuning in via the internet. This will be the taxable value discussion by the Equalization Director, Mr. Parrish.
Thank you, sir. Yes, so it's that time of year again where we equalize the values for the county. It starts at the local level with the townships and the cities. In March, the assessed values get approved. In April, they come to the county to get county equalized, and then in May, they get state equalized. If you've not heard, you're probably all familiar with the SEV. That's where that comes from. So we're in the middle of that. Brian said to try to keep this under an hour. It's going to be tight. Yeah, so no, this will be quick. This was a good year. But before I get into the nitty gritty, I wanted to brag about the department a little bit because I don't get an opportunity to do that every day. So Berrien County is a big place. When I came from Grand Traverse County Equalization, there are 14 municipalities, 13 townships, 1 city. Contrasted here to Berrien, we've got 22 townships and 8 cities. It's a big place. It's a lot of work, and that amounts to a bunch of equalization studies that we have to perform every year. This year we had 78 appraisal studies. I didn't actually try to do a count of the individual appraisals, but it's easily over 1,000 individual appraisals done by the Equalization Department. 32 sales studies. Sales studies are great because it's less nuance for our appraisers. If we have enough sales data, we'll always do sales studies. This is actually a fairly low amount of sales studies. We did more appraisal studies this year than in past years. So the point I'm just trying to make is a lot of work goes into this. Between all 30 of our townships and cities, we have to equalize on every class of property, every property classification. So I came up with 198 as an estimate for how many potential factors or actual factors are being approved here today. Again, the point being, it's just a lot of work. There's a lot of numbers that go into this report. And then another thing that we're not dealing with today, but will be dealing with for the rest of the year is all of the millages for our various taxing jurisdictions. Again, Berrien County is a huge place. Not only do we have all our townships and cities, we've got school districts, authorities, libraries, intermediate school district, community college. It's work that doesn't go away until December. It's a lot. Why I'm emphasizing all of this is because I want to talk about our staff, and in particular, how proud I am. This is our current appraiser compliment. One of our appraisers is a veteran who's been with the department for 28 years and brings a lot of excellent, valuable knowledge. But the rest of our appraisers haven't been with the department that long. We've got two that are currently certified as assessing officers, MCAOs, but are in presently the program pursuing their level 3s. So that's great. And these are people who just a few years ago had never even heard the word equalization. Moving down the list, another one of our appraisers has recently become certified as a MCAO. I don't know yet if they'll be pursuing their level 3 certification or not. I'm guessing they will, but there's a waiting period for that. And then our newest appraiser has only been with us for 8 months, and they are actively in the program pursuing their certification. So again, the majority of our people not only are new to the department, they are new to the profession. And I could not be more proud of the group of people that we have and how far we've come in just a few short years to where the level of competence in the subject matter and the amount of, I don't know, just confidence that I have in them is, I can't stress enough. You got a good group of people over there. That said, one of our appraiser positions got a good increase with the new contract. I haven't seen the new contract, but I understand that there was some adjustments made. So that's outstanding because I've stood before you in the past talking about concern about appraiser salaries. There's still a long way to go for the rest of the appraisers to be competitive. So that remains a chief concern of mine. But nonetheless, we've got good people and a good group. And thank you for bearing with me as that's the most important thing I wanted to talk about was my people. So thank you. Jumping into the actual numbers. This mouse is very sensitive, so it scrolls very quickly here. Bear with me. Okay. So we're talking about the equalization report. The main thing that does every year is it measures the level of assessment for each class of property within each local unit. As I mentioned in the previous slide, that amounts to about 198 different factors. This year, I'm recommending a factor of 1 for every single one of them. So that means they're not going to have to, townships aren't going to have to adjust their assessment level up or down any further. When we completed our study at the end of last year, that told the assessors, hey, your values are above or below the level of the legal required level of assessment by this much. Every single one of them has met now that threshold to where it's not necessary to factor them further. So the short version is this is very good news. It's an easy year. The day will probably inevitably come when we will have to factor a local municipality, sometimes for silly reasons. Sometimes it's not even anyone's fault. It's just kind of the circumstances, the way it unfolded. Fortunately, that's not the case right now. I'm going to move on from that and go over exactly what we're seeing this year. The main number I want to draw your attention to is the change in taxable value. That's down here in the bottom right corner, 4.54% increase from last year. That's a big increase. The number that I gave to Doug for the sake of projecting the 2022 budget assumed about half of that percent increase. I don't remember the exact number, but it was two something percent. So our actual percent increase is more than double what we had projected. So from a revenue point of view, that's excellent news. I threw in last year's to or the change from 2020 to 21 here as well, just so you can just so I could contrast the actual increase from the prior year to the increase in this year, because it's just been a significant jump. Took 2.96% last year to 4.54% this year. So very healthy increase in value. This is a new chart I included in the report this year, which shows the difference between taxable value and our equalized value every year since 1994. 1994 being the year that taxable value was created via Proposal A. You can see that there's been, a fairly consistent spread. You can see where we dipped down a few years there during the recession or following the recession. But I just thought this was a nice little display of how much the equalized value has grown each year against how much the taxable value has grown each year. And this is just another example of a slide from the report, which just shows the SCV, or rather the assessed value change and the taxable value change for each taxing jurisdiction, or rather each municipality. It's similar to what we've published in previous years. And that's really all I've got as far as the report goes. Again, good increase in taxable value, no unusual factors this year. It's pretty much an ideal situation from an equalization point of view. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions for Warren? Do you have anything to add? Okay, thank you, Warren. We're queued up to have that resolution go forward on the consent calendar. I think it's the one ending in 4242. Yes, ma'am.
I did think about it. Are you all settled in your new space?
Yes,
Can
we
people
love the
find
new
you? Do
space.
you have people that come in to ask, questions?
Yep, we do. We have a section of the building that right near the front entrance there is just kind of our dedicated customer service area. So we can accommodate the public coming in. But yes, it has been, I don't even have the words for how good how much of an improvement it's been. It's so nice being over there. And seriously, I can't even begin to say. I think that's a lot of why, when I was bragging about the department, how our morale has gone up and our people are performing very well. And that's a big contributor, was getting out of that basement. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. It's brighter. Yeah.
Anyone have anything else? Okay, thanks, Warren. Understood.
Get a book this time.
I think they have some, but they're just saving a little bit on printing costs, but we can get one easy enough. Right, right. I think if someone wants them, we can have printing assemble them. So, consent calendar is coming. Before that, we have public comment on the consent calendar. There aren't any added resolutions that I'm aware of. So if you have anything to say about the resolutions on the agenda, this would be the time to do it. Okay, hearing nothing, and no one has moved to table anything. So is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as submitted?
So moved.
Moved by Scott. Is there support? Supported by Freeling. Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mcginnis,
Yes.
Commissioner Meek,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott.
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Werfel,
Yes.
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Walrath,
Affirmative.
Chair Elliott.
Yes,
That's all.
thank you. Committee reports, Mr. Admin Chair, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, thank you, Mac. We had our administration committee meeting this morning, and first in to see us was our county administrator, Brian Set. What we will have for you next, at our next meeting, is a resolution where we have separated the duties out at the animal control. We've taken the enforcement officers and put them under the supervision of the sheriff's department. The remaining staff and kennel will now be under the management of a kennel manager. So within that resolution, there are some changes. Instead of an animal control director, it is now an animal shelter manager. And there are actually 5 FTEs that are the enforcement people. I think right now we're down to 2, maybe 3, but there are actually 5 funded. So those 5 positions will go under the sheriff's department. Between Brian and the administration committee, we've been discussing this and talking about this for quite some time. And we feel there's a lot of benefits to doing this. Not only will the animal control officers have better guidance, better equipment, falling under the sheriff's department's supervision, their uniforms will remain the same, but their vehicles will be identified as sheriff's department vehicles, identified as animal control. As far as the shelter goes, we have yet to hire or appoint a shelter manager, but that will be forthcoming. Any questions on that topic? Ray?
Yeah, so is there going to be opportunity for crossover? For example, if you got a animal control officer, would they be doing more road patrol? And then vice versa, more people from the sheriff's department, would they be able to be trained to be animal control officers?
Well, I'll defer that to the sheriff, because we did talk about the animal control officers being able to move into the sheriff's department. You know, generally they come into the jail and then they become road officers. Do you want to address that, Paul? The question is cross-training. In other words, could animal control officers, will they have a path to becoming a sheriff's deputy? And could a sheriff's deputy say, I want to be an animal control officer?
If we have an opening, they could put in for it for a transfer. Okay, but they will be wearing brown uniforms, not the same uniforms they have on.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, but animal control will do animal control stuff. They will not go on criminal complaints unless it involves a dog. So they'll strictly just do animal control. And if they have the criteria, if they are certified, or if I make a decision, want to send them to the police academy, they could become certified and be transferred over to the enforcement division. But they will not be taking calls, outside of just enforcing what they're there for.
Thank you, Sheriff. And I
You're
believe
welcome.
that answered the question, Ray.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I just want to respond because I believe that once they get into the animal control, that they're going to have the same training. So their opportunities to go to the sheriff's department will be enhanced because of that. They're going to have the same training as all the other officers.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for that, Dave. Anything else? Okay, then next we had Family and Court Administrator Elvin Gonzalez and Commissioner Werfel would like to report out on that.
Thanks. So Alvin reported out on a number of different topics for the family division. First, the pre-arrest diversion program for kids getting a second chance. That is in place now. That is moving forward. Law enforcement can make that referral so that the families and the kids can get together with a counselor and hopefully redirect the path that that youth is going on if they qualify. And within the juvenile center, we've heard a lot about that in the last number of months. And right now, first, their employees, they have a staff of 45 people, but currently there's 17 vacancies of that 45. So that's a 37% open positions in the juvenile center. Right now, the length of stay is going up because the number of weapons offenses is high. And those are first priority in the 16 available beds in the secured facility. So they're working on some programs to take care of the backlog, the number of people, but the length of population stay is going up. So they've got some tether programs that they're doing that are helping where they can put some that are lesser offenses on a tether program and have those monitored as well. But there's a big gap there. They're still doing virtual court for the kids that are doing well. If they're not doing well, then they have to go to court and face the judge. So there's other consequences that they get. And then on a good note, a couple of things that he reported out was they just started a partnership with the Box Factory. And through the generous juror fund, supplying some of the art supplies, they've gotten volunteers from the Box Factory to introduce arts to these individuals as well. So that's kind of a neat thing that they've got going on. And then they're also involved in the juvenile justice plan for the new facilities or how that will move forward as well. That's my report.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions for her? Okay, Annette was in to see us and talk to us about 2 board appointments. One is the 911 Advisory Board. We had 3 applications and we selected Denny Sexton. These are, I believe, 3-year terms or 3-year seats. Denny is a retired 911 dispatcher, so he's very familiar with the operation. He's also a firefighter. He's got good background. The other was Community Corrections Advisory Board. We had 2 applications and we selected Deborah Panazzo. I don't know her background. I don't know who she is, but but she applied. We accepted her. Now, for those of you who don't, Deb was a longtime county commissioner here, and she also sat on this board at one time. So we felt she would be a good addition to that board. We have some resolutions coming to you next time we get together. The first one ending in 4246. This is from the Office of the Community Corrections. They have a grant application. The court wants to submit an application for the amount of $260,210.65. That's for a 1-year term beginning October 1st of 2022 to continue the operation of the Community Corrections Advisory Board. So this is to apply for that grant for the $260,000. Resolution 4252. This is an agreement between the Sheriff's Department and Buchanan Township. And this is for a contract between us and them for Redbud. Everybody knows the Redbud motorcycle dirt track down there. It's for $23,500. It's to provide protection down at Redbud Track and Trail from June 30th to July the 3rd of 2022, this year.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Who pays us? Who pays the sheriff? I mean, is it Redbud Track? Is it City of Buchanan Township?
It ultimately comes from the track, but does it go through the township?
The contract, Redbud pays Buchanan Township because we can't contract with a nonprofit.
Private.
So we contract with Buchanan Township and then the township pays us once Redbud's paid the township.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that's for overtime to have the deputies down there.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. All right, we're gonna have resolution 4258. This is coming through the road department. It's to, there is a private road now called the Blue Ridge Path. There is a condominium association that petitioned the road department to make that road a public road rather than a private road. And we agreed with that, and we're presenting this resolution, which basically says the Berrien County Board of Commissioners approves the request submitted by the members of the Blue Ridge Path Condominium Association to have Blue Ridge Path, currently a private road, converted to be a public road as part of the Berrien County road system, and instructs the Berrien County Road Department to complete the steps needed to finalize that process. And then resolution 4259, this comes from the road department. As part of their Act 51 budget, they are applying for a grant, and this is to do phase 4 of the segment of the trail down in Niles in the Buchanan area, to move it from Buchanan to Niles and then ultimately into Berrien Springs. So this is to apply for funds to go from segment or phase 4. This segment is 1.5 miles of the trail that would help connect the non-motorized McCoy Creek Trail in Buchanan with the proposed City of Niles to Village of Berrien Springs Trail, which is an extension of the overall Indiana-Michigan River Trail. And the estimated project cost is $1 million. Let's see, we had Annette talk to us about the West Michigan Guardianship that was presented to us during the Committee of the Whole. We went ahead and said we want to go ahead and continue funding the West Michigan Guardianship. So we, Annette will put together a resolution for a 3-year term. The first year, which would be 2023, would be $25,187.36. And then the subsequent years would be a 2% increase onto that. So we will have that. I didn't realize we will have a resolution next week. You're going to put it together? Okay, go to the full board in 2 weeks. So eventually you'll get it. And that's our report.
Very good. Any other questions for admin? All right, Mr. Personnel and Human Services Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also met this morning. We will have 3 resolutions for you to consider next week. The first is to reestablish an employee assistance program. We bid that out, and that would be services we provide to our employees on a regular basis. The second is an employee evaluation policy and form. We reviewed those, and this would codify that each employee would get an evaluation on a regular basis. And the third came from Parks. This is to purchase adjacent property adjacent to the Enders property that we purchased several years ago. This is the Woodruff property. And so we were working with Waterville Township and the city of Waterville to acquire that property. This would start the process to basically, some type of notice. So a nominal amount, but then also allow us to go proceed with the purchase of that property. We also considered some board appointments, and we'll have some thoughts for you next week. And then had a detailed report from Jill Adams, head of the Parks Department. A couple of things I'd like to note for you. They've had engaged a firm to do a customer assessment and survey for Silver Beach. And so in 1 year, we had over 728,000 people visit Silver Beach. So they did, where they come from, how long they're there, and it will help us in the future as we continue to plan, out services at Silver Beach. So I think that's going to be made available by our administrator. So in your weekly linked report, you'll get how to access that information. Very interesting, very exciting for the Parks Department to actually have some detailed information about who visits the park and where they come from, and we'll be able to help them in planning services. We also talked about the DNR grant for infrastructure on the Enders property that's adjacent to our current park. And so that's been submitted, the amount of $400,000. And so we're looking forward to having that. And if indeed we move forward on Woodruff, then that'd create a pretty significant park for our residents and visitors. And that would conclude my report, gentlemen. Anything I missed?
Anything for PHS? All right, last but not least, Madam Chair of Finance.
Thank you very much. Our administrator and our chairperson came in and talked with us at different times. Then we had a report from our financial services director, Doug James, and it was a discussion on policy and procedures for the bid opening process. And we want to do something, our committee brought the suggestions to and talked with our administrator to be able to, that our committee time is not spent just on opening bids and buying little screws and things. It takes up a lot of time and it's important. And so what has come up is that we're going to work where we can say, do all the legal things for bid openings and do it right, but that we will ask the bids to be sent in, like say on Wednesday by 10 o'clock. This has always been done. And that they will be opened at that time and it'll be an open meeting so that people that bid it or anyone else that was interested could come and see this happen. And that's always been in our committee, that you're welcome to come. But that we'll have Jake Lideker, who's been doing this from the finance department, continue with it. And then there will be someone there tabulating, someone possibly from who put the bid out. And that way there will be witnesses that it was opened at that time, da, 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 da. And then the next thing we do would be to give it to the department for them to look at it and see that the lowest bid fits the request that we've put out. If not, there are processes and steps that you have to go higher, that you bring it back to the finance committee and all. It will also be open to the finance committee. We'll know that it's that day, and if a member chooses to come and sit in, then they're welcome to do that. But then we'll do our other steps where we make a motion to accept it and pass it on, and it will be done. And we're not always in a hurry to do things. There's sometimes it takes a while, or we find that this company can get it quicker. We've been having a time with ammunition and cars, and everything is taking, quite a while to get. So those are some of the factors that we'll look at, not just what does it cost. Right. And so they're going to work on that, and hopefully within a month or a little bit more, it's going to meet with department heads and all that. And so that down the line, it will be understood and it will happen, and it will free us up as a finance committee to do more with the other things that we need to do. Is that a good explanation? Oh, yeah. Okay. And then the next, we have a number of resolutions we're going to bring to you next week for acceptance. And there is a resolution F-2204-255, authorized broadband, that I would like to ask Commissioner Freeling if she would talk to us about that.
Yes, this is actually authorizing the administrator to engage with a contract with a company called DCS Technologies. They're a company that actually does asset mapping. What we've discovered through our work with the applications with communities is that there is a greater need to understand the assets that we have within our county. Just recently, there was an announcement of $250 million that the state has allocated for broadband deployment. The MyHigh office, which is the Michigan high-speed internet office, has now been funded, and we are starting to see that office come into fruition. There's also coming from the federal infrastructure bill to the state of Michigan anywhere between 1.3 to 1.5 billion with a B dollars for broadband infrastructure. By engaging in this contract with this company, it is giving us a report-based understanding of what assets exist within Berrien County that we can then update on a regular reoccurring basis. But then we can also share that with our municipalities and say, we know that this is the technology that exists within your communities. And this is what it may cost to build out a full plan for connectivity within your community and the county. It is something that this board has done as a priority and an objective to improve connectivity within Berrien County by engaging these services with this provider. It's going to help us get closer to that finish line. Thank you.
And that's what I think about how far ahead we are of other counties. Will that help Berrien County to be at the head of the list?
By engaging these services, it will actually help us have some synergy. They are actually contracted to work with a county just to the north of us. And so they're going to be within the area. And that means that we're going to likely be able to get scheduled quickly for them to be able to do these services. And we will be able to take advantage of that timing and start to be shovel ready sooner perhaps than other counties within the state. So when those dollars become available, we'll have something ready. We've also taken action with this board to work with Southwest Michigan Planning Commission to have a grant writer on staff specifically dedicated for broadband funding. And this is just another key to our efforts and another piece of the component to be able to be successful in our bids.
Excellent. I thank the BC BIT committee for all the things that you all are doing. And tell us about the ARPA funds. Can it be used?
So in this resolution, you will see that the funds are actually not eligible for ARPA. So there are some clear guidances that this is something that would have to go out for bid. Because of the timing of all of this, we were not able to go out for bid, but also looking at the initial rules for some of the other funds that I've just mentioned through the infrastructure bill and perhaps even through the state's funding. We might not be able to use this perhaps as a match in monies already invested. If we're required to do a match, and I believe one of the grant programs requires a 25% match from a community like a county ourselves in order for us to apply for the grant. And so it could potentially make this ineligible for us to use that as a match. So what we're proposing is that we take these dollars, it's $185,000 out of contingency.
Okay. Is this what I'd ask if there are any questions on that? Any questions or discussion about that? Because we're going to bring that to you next week for your approval. Okay. And if you have any questions, contact Administrator Doucette, so you'll be ready. Thank you so much. Then what I would like to do, we have two other resolutions that we're going to bring to you. And one, I'm just going to say the last four numbers. It ends in 4256. And we want to approve Bainbridge Township broadband funding application. And they are ready. What has happened is that the county will put in $562,500. The local match from Bainbridge Township will be $187,500 for a total of $750,000. With the work that Bainbridge Township has done, and with the work that BC BIT has done, it is a project that's shovel ready. They're ready for this. And as you know, we took ARPA funds and we put aside $6 million and had meetings with different communities that would come in. And so they've done all of this. And so next week, we're asking you to support this resolution. And then we have another resolution ending in number 4257 that is ready. And local funds that will be put in by Orinoco Township will be $700,000. The county will put in $700,000 for a total of this job will cost $1,400,000, and it is ready, shovel ready. And so those are the things that will happen. And it's just a pleasure. It makes me smile. All the kept saying, "What's BC BIT? What's that? Some more things you push with your finger." But it's happening. And I think the fact that it is will help other communities to know that they can do this, that they can come into it, and it's going to happen. And with the billions and the millions and different things that are happening, we're going to be in real good condition when you see the schools are so proud that they gave computers to all the that their school system or whatever, but then they have nothing to hook it up to. Just a number of things have happened, and so Marion County is at the top of being ready and understanding what's going on. And so those are the resolutions we will bring you all next week. If you have questions or you'd like to see them or understand better, please get in touch with Administrator Dissett. I'm just trying to see, I written notes all over. We accepted our minutes, and I believe that's all that we have to report.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for finance? All right, hearing none, we'll go to commissioner reports. We'll go clockwise.
Thank you very much. I do have a report. Trying to find specifically where I put that paperwork at. Oh, well. So we did have a BC BIT meeting last Thursday. And as Commissioner Yarbrough mentioned, it was the recommendation of the BC BIT committee to move forward with 2 of the applications that we had received. We received third-party analysis on whether or not it was a complete application and whether or not it was worthy of being recommended to the full board. And so those townships are Bainbridge Township. I do want to highlight that the township is, while they're providing a 25% match, the ARPA funds that they actually received was $275,000. And they're contributing $187,000. So they're putting a significant amount of their ARPA funds into this project. They've prioritized this. The other thing to highlight on that application and also for Orinoco's application, they're in close proximity to federal grant dollars that are already being deployed and constructed. And so that was another thing that we looked at with regards to this applications that we approved. Bainbridge Township's project, that $750,000 is actually going to help them finish out their entire township. It's 15 miles of infrastructure that they're going to be installing into their township. The other application that we reviewed was Orinoco Township. I know that we've heard from this municipality. They've been a front runner on making this something that they wanted to do for their constituents. They've taken $700,000 of their ARPA funds, which is 100% of what they have, and put it into the ask for their application. Berrien County is going to, BC BID is recommending that we approve $700,000 for them to complete that project. It'll actually help them to construct 27.2 miles of infrastructure for broadband deployment within their community, and thus filling in all of the gaps that the federal grants do not cover. So I just wanted to highlight that. If you have any other questions with regards to that before we look at it next week, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the members from BC BIT for that matter. We did also discuss the DCS mapping contract. We also had provider Merit. So they were the ones that helped us with the survey, but they also have infrastructure within the state of Michigan and also within Berrien County. And so we've been having conversations with providers of what infrastructure that they have existing within Berrien County so that we can be looking at how to best use the dollars that we've been given as stewardships for these projects. So that's all on BC BIT. There was a Southwest Michigan Planning Commission meeting on Tuesday, and we approved a memorandum of understanding with MACOG, which is the organization that is the regional planning for the South Bend Elkhart region. And so we work in tandem with them, particularly as it relates to NATS, which is our transportation authority area in the Niles area. And so, Michael, I wanted to highlight that so you'd be aware of that, and I'd be happy to share that memorandum with the full board and make that available. We also approved the overall work plan for 2022. I have a hard copy of it. I was going to give it to staff so that we can make an electronic version of it and then distribute it to everything, or the full board, so you have access to that. It's all the projects that they're currently working on for Southwest Michigan Regional Planning. The other thing that we had is an overview on GIS mapping. And I wanted to highlight this because I didn't even realize that this has existed as a tool through their organization to the degree that it was available. You can actually go to their website and you can look up Appraiser ratings for all of Berrien County and the region. You can also look up road ownership. Is it a township road? Is it a county road? When we've got roads that are bordering other counties, whose road is it technically? That is all there within the GIS. Last night I was asked to go to Weesaw Township to speak in the capacity as the BC BIT representative. They had over 60 members there wanting to learn about broadband initiatives and the work that the county is doing and how they can partner with the township. So I just wanted to highlight that. And last but not least, I wanted to just kind of toot my own horn a little. I was quite surprised last week. I received a package in the mail from Michigan Association of Counties. Last year, I had mentioned to this board that I had received a certificate being a certified county commissioner, which is simply stating that I had done 20 hours of additional continuous education to become certified through their program. And a month ago, was it, at the legislative conference, I was given a certificate as an advanced certified county commissioner, which would require 40 hours of additional education. And so just wanted to say that because there's only 3 of us in the state that achieved that. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I hope you see the value in it. Thank you. That's my report. Long.
Definitely
I
do.
can't top that, so no report, no report.
I don't have words.
Terry, MACOG is still around, huh?
It is.
Wow. Michiana Area Council of Governments, I think. And I suppose it's sort of like our Southwest Michigan planning body. Yeah, I didn't know they still existed. I figured there was something down there, but that's been around since at least the 70s. So,
I think I went to something at Fernwood. They did a joint, something seemed like Don Ryman, and I went.
oh,
Or,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
You said you had nothing to top her, so okay. Ray?
So I attended the Community Correction Advisory Board meeting, and we got a few updates from some of our programs. KPEP is 90% employed, so they're doing a good job there. Men in Crisis, they decided to increase their rates for intake services. So they've increased them from $25 an hour per session to $35. Pretrial supervision, there's about an 88% appearance rate for first-time offenders, and 98% of them have not been charged with a new offense while under pretrial supervision. So that's good. But there has been an increase in first-time defendants on pretrial, which is from 30 to 53. So we're keeping a close eye on that. The pretrial supervisor is resigning, so Don Resco is kind of taking over operations while they search for a new supervisor. As far as the management of the CCAB, they are contracting with Connexus while they try to fill in the role that Haley Richards had before she went over to Washtenaw County. The sheriff reported on 349 in jail with 61 on tether. And also, we set the resolution that was approved today on the consent calendar that basically approves the CCAB budget for fiscal year 2022. Also, as you guys know, I invited you all to the Boys and Girls Club Make a Difference event. I've been in constant contact with the CEO, Christy, as well as Tess Ulrey, who's the community engagement specialist. They just like to extend their appreciation for the county really being involved in youth activities and youth development here in the county. Um, Also, some good news. I got word from the governor's office, and they commended the work that Berrien County has been doing when it comes to broadband services. And they're looking to make Berrien County actually a leader across the state in counties investing in broadband services. So it was good to talk to the lieutenant governor about that. Last but not least, West Michigan Guardianship extend their appreciation for Brian and the board working with them and coming to a contract to invest in the guardianship program. So that concludes my report.
I attended the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission board meeting and the BC bit, and I think Commissioner Freeling did an excellent job of reporting out on that. So that's my report.
I attended last night the Community Action Agency meeting, and a couple things there I wanted to highlight. First, the total clients assisted for the fiscal year, which they're halfway through their fiscal year. Individuals, they you look for things you'll see in social media and things like that to please spread the word about the good deeds Community Action has been doing.
I attended the Brownfield meeting last week, and they approved the plan for Speedway. You know, on 94, it really looks bad. That hotel and the things there, so there's going to be some improvements going to be made. And also, Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, I attended with Terry and Jim, and they didn't miss anything on there. But Mike seemed to be brought his notes for Riverwood. And I'm gonna let Mike continue on that, because if I say I didn't, Mike is gonna say it anyway. Okay.
All right, thank you. I first want to say, I am really proud that Commissioner Freeling and Curran and Scott took on this broadband thing. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Yes.
And then to start with Berrien Mental Health Authority, which is Riverwood. Last night was a meeting. We went over they had an audit on their finances. Everything came out excellent. Riverwood is one of the, of course, it's with Berrien County, so it's one of the top in the state. Everything usually comes out on top, 100%. They get accolades all over the place. They also did their acceptance of Accordi compliance report, which covers all the problems that may happen when turning in reports to the state and everything. And they passed everything with flying colors. Nothing came out that was a problem, except there is, because of COVID, there's a couple of care services that are still coding a little bit differently and wrong. And they're not sure why it keeps happening. They keep retraining them, but they're going to work on that. Also, we had another report by Wayne State, and between 2013 and 2020, there was a diversion program. Out of all the counties in the state, 10 were chosen to run this diversion program, and Berrien County being Berrien County, we were one of them. It was for mental health people in jail getting out of jail, and the mental health would help them move into the community. And it was canceled in 2020. And it has not been brought up, but Wayne County is doing a report on it. They're going to go back to the state and try to get it implemented again. It was a grant. They don't know if it's going to help or anything, but they went through it for about a good hour. And there's a lot of good information in there, but there's still Marion County through the sheriff, there's still got some people involved that are helping the people when they get out, if they have mental issues, and lead them in the right direction. Though the money for that has dried up, but the people have been trained and know how to help everybody in those circumstances. So that's all I have.
I also attended the BC bit. Thank you, Terry, for a thorough report. Isn't that great? We voted her chair of that. That was the best decision we made. Telling you. And depending which way it goes, yes. I would just like to let the rest of the board know that on the BC bit committee is also our administrator, Brian Doucette, Thaddeus Hackworth, our attorney, our corporate counsel, also John Eaglehoff from the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, Dan Fetty from our Community Development Department, and Kim Fedison is also on that. And I'd like to thank also Annette, because when we were doing all the Zooms, and even when we're doing the meetings now and we have the Zoom stuff, she gets that all set up. And I just like to let everybody know who's on there. So it's just not us three county commissioners that are on the BC bit. It is truly a group effort. And we've come a long way to make Berrien County number one, the one county to follow in the state of Michigan. That's all I have.
I have no report.
Yeah, just a quick thank you. Warren put together an excellent report. I'll put that into the weekly update. And then for anyone who needs copies, just give me a shout. We can make those. Otherwise, we'll get you the link that you can share with any of your local contacts. Again, Kevin just continues the dialogue on trail building. I'll keep him actively engaged with you all. And then in reference to the upcoming brownfield, we will have a public hearing next week, and Dan Fetty will be here. But as was mentioned, it's one of these projects that can't come soon enough. Major improvement is coming. And it's nice to see the local unit of government working with the county to get this thing done. Those are my comments, sir.
Okay. We're now at the point of general public comments. Anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less, name and where you're from.
I don't know if I can get it under the sun, but especially today. I'm Jerry Cirk, Benton Charter Township. Most of you know me. I'm a Mason, and part of what I do as a Mason is we do an annual sock drive. And Commissioner Yarborough brought some socks into me today, which reminded me that I hadn't told you about last year's drive yet. So I'm going to do that today. We managed to raise almost 1,500 pair of socks last year. And I called around to my agencies that I normally deliver them to, and they're all like, man, you know, COVID was going on and we didn't have that many people come in, and we still have socks left from last year. So we really don't need the socks. So guess what I did with them? I took them to Kentucky and gave them to those people who had that tornado down there in Kentucky. So they went to good use. We'll always make good use of them. And I just wanted to tell you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Anyone else wish to be heard?
I've been there, so this. Understand that some homeowners group wants to bring a road or something into the town or county road group. Is that road up to state specs and county specs, or is the county gonna get stuck with a road that's not up into specs. Second thing is this BC bit. The money that BC bit's using or has, as far as I'm concerned, should be used for the rural areas that don't have access to cable, don't have access to telephone, not the cities, not the villages where you've got 2 or 3 different providers, AT&T, Comcast, whatever. The rural areas need to be hit first before the money is spent for local cities and villages that already have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Karen Garlinger. I live in St. Joe Township, and I'm just here to say hi. I am running for Berrien County Commissioner for District 5. I'm a lifelong resident of Berrien County, St. Joe and Benton Harbor. I'm 7th generation of Garlingers to live in St. Joe and Benton Harbor. Come from a long line of Masons. St. Joe High School grad, Miss St. Joseph 1996. I have a deep love for this community, and I really hope I'll be serving with you to represent the community that I love come January. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Hi, Matt Kirkus, New Buffalo. I don't grant this regime legitimacy. Legal positivism is a departure from the meaning of Jean Bodin's writing summarized as power is legitimate, morally justified only when it is employed in accordance with natural law. As alleged representatives, a duty you accepted, I plead that you protect the citizens' right to access their own property. When will your banker's health department call the chickens? You know, because chickens get AIDS from bats. When will every drinking well have a digital meter on it so that access can be billed or restricted? How many more people will be forced to leave their homes when they cannot jump through more hoops to upgrade their septic systems, as is what happened to me? I must infer the state would rather me defecate under a bridge than in a compost toilet. When will your militarized goons come and break our rain collection barrels or bring their assault weapons to stop us from burning wood to stay warm? You know, because you have to pay for carbon credits with your new central bank currency. Well, 3M today still sells VOCs. Or do you lack courage to do your job and regulate elite corporations? When will you grow organic potatoes, food forests, or edible lawns in the county parks for us? I informed you Oakland, California found a way to legalize campers and tiny homes on private property to help with the homeless. Yet you can't even open bathrooms in the winter for the homeless people. When the homeless people are in bad shape because of economic times, the blood will be on your hands. Of course, you wouldn't spend money on kratom awareness to combat fentanyl crisis, nor would the health department distribute quercetin, budesonide, or NAC, let alone acknowledge them.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Michael Hoy, City of Benton Harbor. I'm here to share with you some information in regards to the Benton Harbor unsolved murders in the Eric Mcginnis case. It's been 4 long years. There's a lot that's still coming forward in this case that separated a lot of our community between Benton Harbor and St. Joe. Working with the Attorney General's office, along with St. Joe Police and Berrien County also. So a lot more details to come out. I'm just asking everybody to, there's a lot of accusations going out right now, a lot of misinformation and incomplete information. Everybody just hold their breath as we continue to work through this and let the Attorney General's office do their work. And from the people that I know that have worked on this, there is no cover-ups. There is full transparency as much as we can work on and work forward through. Are there people coming forward now? Let's hope so. But I'm just asking everybody to hold their breath and just let the justice do their work. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to be heard? All right, other business. Do we have any? Announcements and reminders 2 weeks from today. If you're here at this time, you've made a mistake because we're meeting at night out at MSU on the 5th. But we will be here next Thursday morning. Do you have anything else? Okay, we're adjourned to next Thursday at 8:35. Have a good weekend.